Hello, Booktube. It's Eric. I'm back with another book haul. Wow, that's a lot of shine on my forehead, isn't it? I need to cover that light. That's neither here nor there, though. Today is October the 14th, 2017. Went to a library bag sale, picked up a bunch of stuff. Went to a thrift store, picked up a few things. Went to a used bookstore, picked up a few things. Thrift store, used bookstore, thrift store. Get the idea. So, without further ado, at the library sale, they had the bag sale, and then they had their little always going book nook, and they had hardcovers for $2. This is the second Corman Strike novel, which is J.K. Rowling's writing detective fiction. I have not read the first one yet. I do have a copy, picked up a while ago, but for $2 I wasn't going to pass up. The second one, I'm on the lookout now for the third one. Eventually it will show up. So, library stuff. Library book sales, especially bag sales. I tend to go through things one time, tables one time, pick out stuff that calls to me, get my bag about 2/3 full, and then I'll go back and pick up stuff that I was kind of iffy on. So, starting off with, and I didn't realize that this had loose pages, but this was part of a $3 bag sale. But Nero Wolfe, Death on a Deadline. I might see if I can glue that back together. Either way, it's all right to grab that. Another Agatha Christie. This one is the ABC Murders. I love that cover, so I grabbed that. Now, if you're like me, certain authors, you have a lot of copies of their books. And I have a lot of copies of this book. And I've read it, and I don't love it. But this was such a perfect condition copy. This is Ross MacDonald's The Ivory Grin, Lou Archer novel. I thought it was pretty good. I need to probably reread some more of the Lou Archer stuff. I have all of them. But this copy is in such great condition that I could not leave it there. Gerald Petovich is another novelist whose stuff I keep picking up. I did not have Money Men. I don't think I do. Anyways, it went in the bag. This one I'd never heard of. This one was a blind buy. It was maybe the fedora on the cover that called out to me. This is St. Mud, and I believe, let's see, this takes place in, I want to say St. Paul. Yep, St. Paul. I used to live in the Minneapolis area, so I figured I'd grab that. I'm always, these days, on the lookout for horror, especially after reading Paperbacks from Hell, and this is the only horror novel I found at the bag sale. You're going to see a bunch more horror stuff coming up. This kind of called out to me. I love the font title. I know the name John Lutz, and so grab that. This looks like crazy 70s, 1981. 70s, 80s men's adventure stuff. So I grabbed that. Obviously I grabbed the stuff, so I'm going to stop saying that. The Penguin Pocket Book of Mystery Stories. I grabbed this for the Edgar Wallace. There's a few other things in there that might be cool to check out. We shall see. The Gordons, Tiger on My Back, and the other book I grabbed by the Gordons is the FBI, or Case File FBI. Those are just great. This is Bantam, paperbacks, cool stuff. This called out to me. I went past it about 3 times and finally snagged it. No idea what it is. It's just like the phone and the cover. And, Joanna Voorhees. So, yeah, that sounds kind of scary. When a Stranger Calls, maybe. The Night Fairy. No idea. Just kind of, it's a vintage crime, so that always is worth snagging. All right. A couple of early Robert Parker reissues. I have both of these books already, but I kind of like these covers. These are the ones I remember. They're kind of classic, so those go in the collection. Let's do this one first. This is another Parker, another Spencer novel that I've been looking for a copy of. I read all these back in the day, but this is coming up on my continuing read through. Of course, I'm not finding the next one I need in this series, but I got a copy of Validation. So let's do Ray Bradbury, Death is a Lonely Business. grab both of these. I'm kind of rearranging stuff here. Patrick McManus started off as a humor writer columnist for like Field and Stream, writing funny stuff about hunting and fishing and being out in the woods. And this is The Good Samaritan Strikes Again. I used to have all of these in paperback back in the day. But then at some point he also started writing novels. So I grabbed this one. I've not gotten around to reading these novels. I assume they're kind of humorous crime stuff. Police procedural, writer's reference. I dig police procedural stuff, so I figured I would grab that. Alright, so these are the classics. Oh, wait a minute, let's do this. Once again, this is maybe a little too disorganized for my taste. I got a book on cassette of Larry Block's Everybody Dies. Madigan. This goes in the collection of movie tie-in books. You know, this is Richard Widmark, this is 60s. Oh, somebody left a note in here. That's always fun. Gage has got a bolt-action rifle on the cover, and the back has the title 3 times, Sold. Spy, this is also looking very 70s, so I had to grab that. Ed McBain's Guns, I'm pretty sure I have a copy of this, but I love that cover, so I grabbed it. Alright. Whole bunch of Destroyer novels. Destroyer is one of those long-running men's adventure series. So these are the early issues, and these are kind of the reissues that usually have 2 in 1. This is 85, book 85, book 116, this is book 90. Look at that phone. Let's talk about some technology that time has forgotten. I remember phones like that. Okay. Yeah, let's watch my head as I put the books on a shelf. So these are the 3 big scores. And I think I already have a copy of this, but $3 a bag. James Crumley, The Last Good Kiss. Also a vintage crime. So that. I've read that. That's really good. This beautiful copy of Valley of the Dolls by Jacqueline Suzanne. This is in great condition. There's a little bit of a crack right there, but the colors are still vibrant. This looks like it was read and put up on the shelf. Yeah, and there's says March 1967, and then there's somebody's name that's magic markered out. But other than that, this is probably good. Or I'm sorry, this is very good condition. I'm really not into the whole condition thing, but this was one that I grabbed. Been wanting to grab one of these for a while. And finally, my score of the bag sale. I saw this and I thought, is that really what I'm seeing? Because, you know, how often do you see Charles Williford, the Hoke Mosley omnibus? So, if you know this character at all, it's probably because of Miami Blues, the movie from the 90s with Alec Baldwin and Fred Ward. But this is the 4 Hoke Mosley novels. There was reportedly, I believe, a 5th one that was never written. That was the, quote, dark one, the black one. So, I'm just really happy to have this. I have some of I think Sideswipe's the only one I'm missing from my collection. But I've been wanting to reread these for a while, so great omnibus. It looks great, feels great, it's in great condition. Very happy to have that. Okay. After the book sale, where'd you go? You go to the Goodwill, of course. So, poked around the Goodwill, and this looked trashy. It was like 60 cents, so sold. More paperbacks from hell, horror stuff. Douglas Clegg from Leisure, Halloween Man, Partridge Family, Terror by Night. There you go. Now, I'm assuming this is going to be Scooby-Doo-esque. All right, so which one of these is the find of the Goodwill? John Coyne's The Searing, more crazy horror stuff. Nice hardcover of that. Probably this one. Let's be honest. George R.R. Martin edited Wild Cards. If you don't know these were collections of short stories about superhero characters. They were really good, and they went out of print. I did have all of these at one point in time, but had to sell them off years ago. So if I find them, and this is in pretty good condition, I'm going to go ahead and grab it. Right there is the contributors, so you can see whose stories are there. I don't really recognize any of those names besides Martin's. Okay, So from there, we went to a used bookstore and found some cool stuff there. Lots of horror stuff, so that's what we're going to be showing. Barbie Wood, somebody that I've found out about from Paperbacks from Hell, so I picked that up. This just looked cool. I love the slats. Ed Gorman's always a good pick. Robert McCameron, and this one was 10 cents, so why not? I've heard good things about that book. I don't really remember why I grabbed this one. It just looked cool. Probably because it was 50 cents. But this was my score. This was the big thing. So most of you probably don't know who Axel Young is. This is Michael McDowell of the Blackwater trilogy fame. He wrote 2 books under this name with another person, and I was happy to find one of them, so grabbed that. Okay, and from there we went to yet another used bookstore. This one in Frankenmuth, Michigan. And I'm mentioning the locations because I'm not trying to keep a secret where I find stuff, because I want people to go out and find stuff. It's part of the thrill is the hunt. So this one was a blind buy. This is total Paperbacks from Hell kind of nonsense. So a doll that killed like a demon. I was sold with that line alone. It's who knows. Might be great, might be fun, might be crap. I'll give it a shot. Movie tie-in novel, California Split. George Siegel and Elliot Gould. You know, it's one of those films. Was it Robert Altman? I want to say it was Robert Altman who maybe directed this. Anyways, that was cool to find. A couple of these Hitchcock Presents anthologies. You know, this has got people like Joe Gores and Larry Block and John D. MacDonald. And this one has got August Derleth, Robert Block, Dan J. Marlowe. Good stuff. All right. From there, we went to yet another used bookstore. Trying to keep all my stuff together here. And this one, all right, so I had heard from the Paperback Junkies last video haul about this author who had a book called Paddywhack, so I was looking for that, and I didn't find it, but I found his other novel, Down on the Farm. I don't know how to say his last name, but, you know, up there at the top, you can see exactly why I grabbed it. Turns Michigan into Lovecraft country. Sold. There you go. So, let's see here. All right. I've talked enough for now about these 80s adult westerns, so you know I pick them up. This Cimarron's one series that I'm collecting, and I found the last of the books I needed to complete my Harry Witherton long arm book, so now I have all 6 of them. Okay, from there we're going to go John D. MacDonald. There's a few of his books that I don't own, and this is one of them, so I'm down to about 6 of them on my list that I need to get. Paperbacks from Hell, once again, invoking that book. These 2 books are from my list generated from reading that book. John Ferris's All Heads Turn When the Hunt Goes By. We wound up finding another copy of this at another store, which I bought for my friend. And then Live Girls, which was one that I was like, oh, I would like to get that. And I was happy to find this great condition copy. I'm sure this is a later printing, but I want to read this, and that's why I have it. Okay, so where do we go from there? We went to yet another used bookstore, one that we've been to before. Let me just rearrange this a little bit. All right, so we'll go with a couple of the track 2 and 3. So now of the first 10, which were written by Jerry Ahern, I only need number 1 to complete my collection, which once again, once upon a time, I had all of these. We'll see if I get around to rereading them. I remember them being kind of zippy fun, 80s action stuff. Those are great covers. So, glad to have all of those. Okay, Hard Case Crime. I have a big Hard Case Crime collection. I've done a video about Hard Case Crime before. There's only a couple of the original issues by the original publisher of Hard Case Crime that I'm missing, and this is one of them. It's always nice to knock one off the list. And did I just really Did I really do that? I need to check and see if that's the same John Ferris, because it well may be. Interesting. Yeah, I think it is. I did not know that. Wow, I'm surprised even myself. Okay, so Paperbacks from Hell. We're going to go Michael McDowell, who I've talked about, written with another guy, Axel Young. I found Cold Moon Over Babylon. So another one of his books to go in the collection. And another one of his books, The Black Berets, which he co-wrote. This is number 7. So let's do that because I'm getting a reminder. Great to have this one. Working towards completing that collection of books. This was described as a hard-boiled detective story with horror elements, so I had to grab it. And this one was also highly recommended by Paperbacks from Hell. I need to get that sticker off. The Auctioneer. And I saw that on the shelf, and I literally reached around my friend and grabbed it. And I feel bad. I found a lot of stuff he didn't find quite so much, but I wanted to read this one, so it's mine. And then finally, if you looked at my last video, you saw that I talked about this author, Paul Bishop. Picked up To Kill a Mockingbird, which is the only book of his that I have read in the past. I used to have a hardback library copy, and I might still have it around here somewhere, but picked up the paperback of this Faye Croker novel, and I picked up a nice paperback copy of his first book under his name, so I wanted to check that out. I've been looking forward to reading this one. I'm glad to find a copy of it. Finally, or almost finally, Salvation Army. What got me was the based on the computer game from Fenris Wolf, so I grabbed that. I don't know, something called out to me about this one. Murder mystery, so I grabbed that. And a paperback copy of the original Fletch book in a nice vintage trade paperback. And I got home, and there was mail. So the last two things, years and years ago, I read a book, and I might still have it. I need to dig around and see if I still have it, called Miskatonic University, that were stories set in the Lovecraft universe around Miskatonic University. And one of the authors that stood out to me was Tina L. Jens. I remember her story and enjoying that quite a bit and looking for other work of hers and not find anything. So I went back recently and looked, and she has this book out, so I picked that up. And finally, I got a copy of the one book in the 87th Precinct series that I was missing, and I'm a little shocked because I didn't realize this is what it was. But it's fine. I'm happy to have this. To complete my collection, this is Ed McBain's 87th Precinct, Christmas Eve at the 87th Precinct, all through the house. Okay, computer's telling me that it's running out of space, so hope you guys enjoyed this. I don't know when the next time I do one of these is going to be. Probably going to be slowing down with the book hauls and stuff. Probably going to do some videos of horror novels or crime novels or that kind of stuff that I've had in my collection that I want to show. Thanks for watching if you have been, and catch y'all later.